Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Sam Oniemi, and welcome to another edition of Points in the Paint, brought to you by Four Frequency Sake Podcast Network, where we talk all things NBA basketball. Again, we talk all things NBA basketball. We are in the middle of the NBA playoffs. Those have kind of concluded, both Eastern and Western Conference, and we are getting ready to kickstart the NBA Finals this Thursday. The matchup will be the Dallas Mavericks versus the Boston Celtics. The Dallas Mavericks beat the Minnesota Timberwolves in 5 games and finished that series off. And the Boston Celtics swept the Indiana Pacers, and they are representing the East, while the Dallas Mavericks will be representing the Western Conference. And yeah, it's an exciting matchup. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Have not been able to watch basketball since last week, so I'm kind of been just waiting for these games to kick off. Just looking at it now, at the matchup between the two teams, we have two teams with two great dynamic players. On the Boston Celtics side, we have Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown, who have been doing their thing now for probably, I want to say, 7 years, 6, 7 years together. And then we have the Boston Celtics with Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, who have both proven that they're probably one of the best guard duos to play this game. Especially if you hear some of the way some of these analysts talk about some of them. So yes, so that matchup kicks off Thursday. Boston, having the top record in the NBA, will have home court advantage in that series. At early guess, I want to put my eggs and say Dallas will win this series. I just think that um, the role players for Dallas throughout the course of this playoffs have shown up more consistently than the role players for Boston. I like the way Dallas's role players have played. PJ Washington and Derrick Jones Jr. Have played great. A two-headed center with Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford have been spectacular as well. And then their bench players that come in, Max Kleba, Tim Hardaway Jr., I want to say Hardy, Dante Exum, they've all just played good and played winning basketball when they have been called upon to produce. And I know, uh, and on the other side for Boston, Boston's top heavy with their starting five of Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown, and Al Horford. Was yet to be seen if Porzingis will be returning for the Celtics. He's been out. And I guess he's estimated to return. Looking at the information now, he's estimated to return June 6th, which would be that Thursday, the finals. But what kind of shape he's in, having been out for, I want to say, a month at least. I think Porzingis last played in the first round versus Miami, and he got injured. Yeah. So he's been out for about a month now with that Achilles injury. So he's gonna have to come back and contribute. I'm not sure what we're gonna be expecting for Porzingis when he comes back. So I want to give a slight edge to Dallas, and especially if Dallas is able to run a lot of pick and roll with Luka and Kyrie. Um, a lot of that will be done to kind of isolate Al Horford on the perimeter. And I just wonder if Al Horford will be able to hold up throughout the course of the series, with Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively, who are consistent, constant rim threats, lob threats as well. Both of those guys, Gafford and Lively, are really mobile, so they're really going to test Horford, who's older, 38, I want to say, or so. They're going to test his mobility. So again, I want to give a slight edge to Dallas right now. In the fact to pick, I would probably say Dallas wins this series in 6 games. And I just think Luka and Kyrie are going to do their things. And I think the role players for Dallas, they've gotten great looks. The way Dallas moves the ball, I think they'll be able to get those same good looks, and I think they'll be able to hit those shots. And on the other side of Boston, Boston, I feel like is just too reliant on the 3-point shot. And I've seen in certain series, or heck, even in the playoffs, where the 3-point shots stop falling, and Boston ends up reverting to playing a lot more ISO ball with Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown. And so if Boston gets caught in that game, then they're definitely going to lose this series. So yeah, we'll see. Boston last played May 27th, while Dallas last played May 30th. So both teams will have, about 4 or 5, at least about 5 days of rest. So they should both be well rested for this series. Derek Lively did have that neck injury in game 4 versus Minnesota, or game 3 versus Minnesota. He missed game 4, but returned and played in game 5. Somewhat effective. So he'll get another 5 days of rest for that neck injury to heal. So I think he'll be up to speed as well when the series starts. He only having missed one game. And yeah, just looking at it now, I want to give a slight edge to Dallas, and I can't pull up the matchups between the two teams when they met in the regular season. I know they played recently, and just some storylines too to kind of look at. Obviously, Kyrie Irving previously played with the Celtics before getting traded to Brooklyn. Um, and then Porzingis played with the Celtics previously, and then he got shipped off to Washington, and he's ended up in Boston Celtics. Something interesting that somebody brought to my attention literally like 15 minutes before the show was that the last, let's say, pull it up here. The last 8 champions in the NBA have had a player on their roster that previously played for the Washington Wizards and got traded to the team and ended up winning the championship. And I asked him for receipts. So in 2017, 2018, we had Sean Livingston and JaVale McGee, and they won it with Golden State, and they were previously on Washington. 2019, Jody Meeks, who played for Washington, was traded to Toronto, and Toronto won the championship. 2020, Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, and Markieff Morris all played for the Lakers, but previously played for the Washington Wizards. 2021, Bobby Portis played for the Wizards. Then he ended up going to Milwaukee, and Milwaukee won in 2021. 2022, Otto Porter Jr. and Gary Payton II were on the Wizards and got traded to Golden State, and they won it. And then in 2023, KCP, Thomas Bryant, and Ish Smith were all on the Wizards and got traded to Denver, and they won the championship. And so I bring that up to say in 2024, Daniel Gafford plays for 2024. Daniel Gafford played for the Wizards, and he was traded to the Mavericks middle of this at the trade deadline this year, and now they're in the finals. So if that holds true, then that would mean that the Mavericks will win the championship in this year. So only time will tell. Not very superstitious. I hope you guys aren't either. But that was just a nice little infographic that was info that was brought to my attention literally 15 minutes before I got on air. So just curious to see if history is going to repeat itself in that case, because that would be 8 straight years. And if you're a betting man, then you probably bet on Dallas. So there's that. And I guess, let's see what else as far as NBA content goes. NBA draft is still getting ready to kick off at the end of this month. Players from college who were in the draft, who were in the draft protocols, who were not going to go to the NBA, have since returned to school. So now, literally just a couple weeks for the draft. Don't know much about any of the draft prospects, to be honest with you. All I keep hearing about is Bronny James, and Bronny James, son of LeBron James, will be remaining in the draft. He's projected to go in the second round. He's projected to go to the Lakers or the Suns. Those are the only 2 teams that he's agreed to work out for. Obviously, his dad, LeBron James, plays for the Lakers, so. And the Lakers have the 54th pick in the second round. The Lakers also have a 17th pick in the first round. Don't know if they're going to use that pick on him. Quite honestly, I wouldn't use any of their picks on him. Not that he's a bad player, but they just have other needs. But if you're trying to keep LeBron in tow, I get it. It's a business. But, doing that, drafting Bronny James, if you're a Lakers organization, is not going to move a needle for you. And LeBron's only got, a couple years left of playing. So You draft Bronny James to bring him to your roster. You already have a bunch of guards already on your roster, anyways, with and a bunch of ball dominant guards. Bronny James is not a point guard; he's more of an off guard. He's a really good shooter and defensive minded man, so he wouldn't have solved any of your problems, anyways. And the Lakers drafted Jalen Hood-Schifino last year from Indiana, so they have obviously D'Angelo Russell, and they have guards in tow, Gabe Vincent, and other guards. So if the Lakers do end up drafting Bronny James, then it's just literally the equivalent of the Milwaukee Bucks having Giannis Antetokounmpo on the roster to play with his brother Giannis. And I don't imagine Bronny James making much of an impact for this team. Um, if he is drafted by the Lakers, the only thing would just be is he might share the court with his father at some points, and that might just be more of a historic milestone for LeBron James to be able to play with the son like he's openly proclaimed. So there's that there. Um, and besides that, not really much else as far as NBA news goes. The Kings coach Mike Brown agreed on an extension, so he's going to be the Kings coach, I believe, for another two. Pull it up. He had one more year left on his deal for the 2024, so he's extended through 2026, 2027. Congratulations to Mike Brown. He was the 2022, 2023 NBA Coach of the Year. Um, Mike Brown is coach for the Cavaliers. He's also coached for the Lakers. Um, yeah, he's coached for the Cavaliers two times and the Cleveland. Yeah, and he's also coached for the Los Angeles Lakers. And when he's with the Cavaliers, he had a 305, 187 record, good for 62% win percentage. And then as a Lakers coach for once a season plus, he was 42 and 29 for a 592 percentage. And I can't remember why he got ousted as a Lakers coach. Not sure why, but that year, I believe it was the lockout year when they had him, but they were successful when they had him. So, but Lakers coaches never last long, so I'm not surprised there. And then the GM of the Pistons, Weaver, he has been ousted. Um, and I'm not sure if that's the only domino that's going to fall in Detroit. Um, his name, Troy Weaver, the general manager, is out. Detroit has had the worst record in the NBA for the last 2 years and only won 23% of their games. So somebody's got to take the fall there. I definitely believe that in that situation, there's a lot of losing going on. There's only so much a GM and there's only so much a coach is responsible for. At the end of the day, it's the players. Like we always say, it's the players. This players dominate this league. So at the end of the day, the players are got to be held accountable. Detroit Pistons have the fifth pick in this draft. They have Cade Cunningham. They have one of the Thompson brothers, the twins. They have some nice young pieces there. So we'll see what who they end up picking in the draft this year. Uh, and yeah, and it's really light on the NBA front. Not too much really going on. Obviously, the finals are getting ready to kick off, and then we have a draft. Give you a breakdown of the final schedule. It's usually Thursdays, Sunday, Tuesdays, and I believe that's still the case. So this first game one is Thursday, June 6th. Um, just pull it up here and bear with me. I'm having some technical difficulties. So game one, come on. Game one is the 6th, which is Thursday. And all the games will be on ABC. ABC always televises the NBA Finals. So game one will be Thursday, June 6th. Game two will be Sunday, June 9th. Game three will be, oh, they actually changed it this year. Game three will be Wednesday, June 12th. And then game four will be Friday, um, June 14th. And then game five, if necessary, will be Monday, June 17th. And then game six, if necessary, will be Thursday, June 20th. And then game seven, if necessary, will be Sunday, June 23rd. So yeah, the NBA is really trying to stretch out these finals. Man, I mean, if you start the series, it shouldn't take 3 weeks for a series. But yeah, NBA is trying to stretch this out, obviously, because after this, then all you have is a draft, and there's no more NBA. But obviously, there's other sports going on, so there's fine there. You'll be able to get your fix somewhere else. And I always want to mention that if NBA is not your sport of choice, we do cover other sports here on For Frequency's sake. We cover WNBA, NASCAR, wrestling, football, baseball. You name it, we cover it. We even have a couple of guys that do sports betting channels. If you're into sports betting, please check out that content as well. And yeah, we just want to give you guys that content that you enjoy. May not be what you want to hear, but it is definitely what you need to hear. And I think at that point, I'm going to call it for tonight. I do plan to be on again next week. So when I come on next week, then that would mean we've already had 2 games in the books already, because game one will be Thursday and game two will be Sunday. And so we'll have an idea. And both those games will be in Boston. So we'll see. I can see maybe it being a split, Boston getting game one, crowds behind them, and then Dallas stealing game two. But it's going to be a great matchup. And then even just some of the individual matchups. I mean, Drew Holiday and Derek White are great defensive players, trying to slow down Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. And then obviously the forwards for Boston, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, going up against the forwards for Dallas, PJ Washington and Derrick Jones Jr. You might even see a little bit of Tim Hardaway Jr. as well, Dante Exum. A bunch of those guys are going to be thrown on these guys, so it'll be a great a great matchup. Drew Holiday has a ring; he'll be going for his second ring. Kyrie Irving has a ring; he'll be going for his second ring as well. So, and then obviously a bunch of the other guys: Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Luka Doncic. They're all trying to get their first ring. And so, yeah, I'm just looking forward to a good matchup, as we all are. And yeah, I'm just excited to see what goes on. On that note, I'm going to call it for the night. If you have any thing you want me to touch on or anything you think I missed, feel free to tweet me on X below. My handle is Marks0220. I'm Sam Well, and welcome to another edition of Points in the Paint. You guys have a wonderful evening. Peace.